Okay, live at Stealth Camp with Noah Road. This is a new camp. I had to relocate. This is Wednesday, May the 3rd, and I relocated on Saturday. I'm not going to bother going into the reasons, but it has something to do with, I saw the landowner on his property where I was camping, so I rolled up and I got out of there. So, that was not exactly an easy task. It's not easy when you camp with a lot of weight and get a lot of good gear. And the reason I carry a lot of good gear is so that I can stay at these camps. I can be prepared to do it, for a long stretch. But it requires leaving the camp up when I go. I certainly ain't, I could, but I certainly ain't gonna break this camp down every time I wake up in the morning to go into town. I do that a little bit, but not often, not all the time. So, I ended up going deeper in the woods. I'm about a half a mile away from the other camp where I was at. And this camp is situated kind of along a hill. It's kind of on a hillside, so it was really difficult to find a flat spot. And it has a potential for flood, which doesn't exactly make me feel too comfortable. If there was any real torrential rain, I'm sure that little slope could run some water right underneath my camp. Also, this location was very uncooperative, to say the least. It was just very hard to set the tarp up right and so forth. But once I got it set up, the woods hem in really tight up around it. It provides me a lot of cover, I should say, a lot of camouflage, and it's less likely that I'd be found. Now, the last tent I had set up, and oftentimes I do, I'll just tie a rope to an eye hole on each side evenly, and tie it to a tree, like here, and then the other one to a tree. And then I run the corners down to the ankle and set the tarp up. Now, this is a little different, and this is something that other people should check out, because you can set up a tarp by using this tripod method. You can take two branches, make sure they're strong enough to support, test them a little bit, and then tie them together in a sort of an X shape. And then you get one of these tripod, this is your support beam, and have almost like a V shape. And then you can lean back this X, and that cradles the runner beam, and this supports it. So you can do it on both sides. With this particular camp, I didn't need to do it on that side because it has the tree, and I just simply tied the runner beam here to the tree. Now, with that said, one thing to discuss, if anybody does use this method, these runner beams, when it starts to rain like it is now, it's been raining for like a week or 5 days or something, and it gets wet, and then it starts to drip underneath. And now, if it's not perfectly level, like really level, eyeball perfect, and there's a slight little tilt, or else if it has a natural, bow to the runner beam, it becomes a problem, because when it rains, it starts to run and follow the natural curve or bow, or it starts to follow where the thing is bent, and the drip will lead all the way to where you're laying down, and it'll start dripping on you. I've woke up many times, or not many times, before I got wise to what's going on. A couple of times I woke up and there'd be a drip and a drip on my head, and I'd be like, oh shoot. I'd shine the flashlight, and I'd see that the runner beam was not level. So when that happens, that could happen if you have a tent under here and you do have a rain fly. Obviously that's not going to bother you, but if you're like me and you want the rain fly off so you can get the cross flow and these the mosquito netting acts as your windows, you know, and you could get, you know, it feels less claustrophobic because it's just so much nicer. If you don't want to correct the problem with a rain fly, which I don't, you could do one of two things. You can come out here and do all the work it takes to kind of raise or lower this runner beam, or you could do what I do. I learned this trick. Just find some bark like this that you find in the woods and lay it on that, and that will cure the problem fast, instantly. Okay, because the water will hit and it will just drip off of the, you know, the bark. So you got the problem solved. Now, with location comes the risk of getting caught. No matter how good your location is and how much work you have done in order to camouflage your location, there's always a chance you might come back and find your stuff either gone, or somebody could come right up on you while you're in your tent. And generally, people will take legal action right away. They just do not like anybody on their property. And something about a man in a tent in the woods scares the bejesus out of people. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but 70% of people in America, probably especially in America, white America, are terrified at a man in the woods. He's Goliath to them. It's like they're scared. They're terrified. I've seen men look at me who would rip me to pieces in the gym or something like that, and they're terrified when they see me. It's just so weird. And I'm just a 145-pound guy, so it's weird. So you have to have a bug-out bag prepared, either for jail, because I could go to jail for this, there's no doubt about it. This is my bug-out bag. I got all of my important stuff, so if the police officers come to take me away, I will say yes, sir, and I will be as kind as I'll be the kindest prisoner that they've ever seen, and I will have that packed and ready. When I leave, I have enough to survive on. So I carry, if you see that, it's a bundled up rain tarp. And I also, a good idea if you do that is, see that piece of cardboard, where when I set it out on the ground, it's not going to get little holes scratched in it, so the rain ain't going to come through. Everything is prepared. So I also got a lot of cardboard, layers and layers and layers of cardboard, because this is some pretty moist ground. Not just because it's raining, but because the ground is, it's just kind of a moist, soggy area, and it's not great for that. To lessen the chance, or to increase my hopes of longer camping in the area, in this spot, I went over here and started a sort of camouflage project. And I have moved, you know, branches that I have cut in order to trail my way in here. I had to blaze a trail to get in here. And I have set up a little bit of a framework structure, because I noticed this area, you could see my tent from probably 100 yards away. And I wanted to make sure if somebody was walking out there that they wouldn't see it. It wouldn't just stick out, you know. So no matter what I do, somebody could come across the tent. So there it is without the camouflage, and here it is with the camouflage. So anyways, that's reality with Noah Road stealth camping. Reality stealth camp, Noah Road. Wow, it's kind of pretty. It's been raining here for, my gosh, since Saturday. No, Friday? Yeah. So, anyways, that's my little update. Other than that, I got a gym membership, so like I planned. There's two different gyms. One has a shower, one doesn't have a shower. One has a punching bag, the other one doesn't. And it gives me good locations to go to when I need to charge my phone. And to just kind of sit, maybe read. I don't have to work out all the time, because this is a small town. It's not like these big, crazy gold gym type places. They're really, you know, small, and the crowds come and go, and I know when there's less people around to go. So anyways, here is my little trailblazing. One of the things I do when I have to blaze a trail to get into a new camp is I'll kind of S shape it to where if somebody was on the other side, that lowers the chances of them noticing the trail. Like I said, there's no way to eliminate it. And it's unfortunate when people find your tent, usually they want you off the property immediately, and they oftentimes will resort to legal action. I mean, homelessness in and of itself is not illegal, but by proxy, there's all sorts of legal issues that come with being homeless. Whenever you need to sleep, it becomes illegal. Whenever you want to set your bags down in the woods and you want to cover them, you know, up with a tarp and put some leaves on it or whatever, probably nobody would know. But if they do find out, it's a legal issue. Or you get your stuff ripped off. That's an issue. If you sit down to rest too long, then they call it, you know, loitering. So the only way to stay legal if you're homeless is to basically keep your stuff on your back, on your person, in your hands, all the time, 24 hours a day, and basically walk until you die. You know, the only way you could sleep is to sneak. Homelessness will not get you in jail. You could go up to a police officer and say, "Officer, I want to turn myself in, I'm homeless." He's not going to say, "Oh, put your hands behind your back." No. But when you go to sleep, it becomes illegal unless you're at a shelter, which who the heck wants to go to them places? And unless you're at a campground, or unless you can afford a motel, or unless you're, you know, living with somebody nice enough to have them on have you on the couch. You know, it's illegal. So you're sneaking every single night, whether you're moving all the time or whether you find a spot like me and you're stealth camping. It is illegal. So homelessness, not illegal. But by proxy, it becomes illegal the second you want to stop, hide your bags in the woods, take a rest too long, or find a place to sleep. Then suddenly it's illegal. So anyways, it's like a catch-22. You can't walk forever with your stuff on your back. You know, people should be nicer. And people should have a common sense not to jump right to take legal action, you know, before they even, you know, see who the person is, you know. But that's people. NPCs is what they really are. Living souls, you know, are going to be much more cautious about resorting to legal issues, you know. People like me, you know, I'd rather find out who the person is. And frankly, I could see saying, "Hey, I don't mind you staying on the property because I can see that you're keeping the place clean. When I talk to you, you seem to be very good and coherent, but there's one thing I want to ask you to do. Take a drive with me. I'm going to take you down to the police station. You give them your ID. And if they don't have any wants or warrants, then I don't care if you stay here for a little while. I'm going to check on you, make sure you're not trashing the place, making sure you ain't getting way too comfortable and territorial. Okay? So I'll turn a blind eye. You're not getting my permission, but I'll turn a blind eye to you being on my property as long as it's not a problem and the police have checked you out. I can see that. Let's go have a bowl of soup together. Let's go have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. Let's hang out. I want to hear what you're like, you know. Rather than just immediately jumping into, you know, to take legal action against somebody who's a human being. It's one of the reasons why I leave a note as well. You know, I'm trying to show I'm a human being. I'm a living soul, actually. But try to say living soul to somebody who is an NPC. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, this is my little update from Stealth Camp. Catch-22. All right. No road, over and out. A little sun, just a bit for now.